listening to Reality Wrap. I'm your host, Melanie. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hi guys, happy new year to everybody. I hope everybody is off to an amazing 2025. It's just going to be me today for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap because Sean has been busy with work and is behind this episode, and he didn't watch last episode, which we also didn't recap, but that's okay because I am here. Today I'm going to be recapping last night's episode of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 14, episode 6. Overall, I'm going to give this episode a C. I didn't particularly find the women's individual scenes that interesting. I think this show does better when all the women are in a group filming versus the individual scenes. That might change as the season goes on. I don't know, but I kind of feel like the individual stories, other than Dorit's divorce, kind of aren't like that interesting right now. I know that sounds kind of mean, but whatever, that's the way I feel. So we start off this episode, we see everybody at their houses. We get to meet Boze's boyfriend. He has set up a romantic picnic on the beach. Apparently he lives down in San Diego, so they don't see each other every day, but they do talk to each other every day. He asks her what she would like from their relationship, which is funny because it doesn't really seem like something most men actually want to know. They just kind of want to bump along. She tells him that that's a hard question to answer after dating her last boyfriend who was still sleeping with his ex, but she appreciates his level of honesty, and she asks him if he's dating for marriage, and he tells her of course. So maybe there's going to be some wedding bells in Boze's future. I hope so. I really like her, and I hope she finds happiness. We see Dorit and Erika go to dinner. Dorit's parents are in town to rescue her. She said she felt like the walls were falling in, and her parents came just in time before the walls actually fell in. They toast to Phoenix's ballet, which we saw at the very beginning of the episode. She was practicing very quickly. We saw a little clip of it. And I'll have to say, during this Christmas break, Dorit actually posted clips from the actual performance, and she did so well. She was so elegant. She really did well. So kudos to you, Phoenix. Dorit tells her that she and PK are going to meet up for their first therapy in a couple of days, and she doesn't know if she is completely finished with him. And Erika's like, well, if he's getting sober, you kind of have to leave that door open, which I kind of get because maybe the problems that they were having would go away once he got sober. Obviously they don't. We find out later on, but I see what Erika's saying when she's like, he's sober now, you kind of have to leave that option on the table. Although it sounds like PK has totally removed that option off the table. Erika brings up how Dorit called Camille a see you next Tuesday the previous day or the previous night, and Dorit's like, yeah, I've been nice for too long. I'm done being nice, especially with Sutton. Sutton wants to have this sisterhood, and it's totally fake, which we also hear Erika say towards the end of this episode. So it definitely seems like these two are on the same page when it comes to Sutton. Garcelle is with Oliver and Jade, and they're driving to the beach house. Garcelle tells us that she never imagined that she would have this house. Now, at this point in time, she and Oliver are in a really good place after he had so many difficult years with addiction. And she tells us this story about how Oliver one night had come to the door and was acting really erratic, and he was on something, and she wouldn't let him in because he was acting so erratic. She felt very guilty that he was homeless and she wouldn't let him in, and he was obviously addicted to drugs. So she sent him away, but she felt horribly guilty about it. Which, honestly, she did the right thing, but I can only imagine what it felt like to send your son away while he's homeless and clearly struggling with addiction. But sometimes that's what it takes, because if you let him in and give him a place, it's kind of enabling him. Sometimes with somebody who's struggling with addiction, it's better to let them hit rock bottom, and maybe that will help them turn it around. She also says that she thinks that having OJ, which was so funny at first when she said OJ, I was like, wait, OJ as in OJ Simpson? Obviously, she means his son and her grandson. But since he's had OJ, that he's really been able to turn his life around. And sometimes that's what you need when you have to care for somebody else. You realize, okay, I need to get my together because I have this little person now who's relying on me and I need to give them the best that I can, so I need to sober up. Obviously, that doesn't happen with everybody, but it sounds like OJ might have been Oliver's kind of saving grace, and he was able to turn it around for him. We are now with Boze, and she is going over to Dorit's house for a little girl time. And so she comes in, and Dorit introduces her to her parents, and they go off into the back to have their girl time. And Dorit tells Boze about her 4-hour therapy session with PK and how PK screamed out, "This is why I want a divorce, and I don't want to be married to this woman," and apparently stormed out of the office and slammed the door. And after that, Dorit was kind of like, okay, I see where we are right now, and that she needs to come up with a plan for every possible scenario. I'm surprised they didn't film this therapy session for the show, or maybe PK didn't want to, or maybe both of them didn't want to film for it because it is their marriage. So some things are more important than showing it on the show. Boze then brings up the argument between Dorit and Camille from the previous night, and she doesn't understand why Kyle invited Camille. And Dorit's like, well, Kyle invited Camille on purpose because she knows that we have an issue. And then she didn't tell me that she invited her. Although in Kyle's defense, if they weren't like really talking on the regular, they were just kind of moving forward through all these issues that they have over the last couple of episodes, that's probably why Kyle didn't call her and be like, hey, I just want you to know that Camille's coming. Or maybe Kyle did it on purpose. I don't know. But I could see why Kyle probably didn't call her, because they weren't really that close, or they don't appear to be that close anymore, and they're working on their friendship. So I don't know. But Dorit feels that she did it on purpose. Boze then brings up how Sutton weaponized Dorit's situation and used it against her. So now we have Erika and Boze saying the same thing, essentially, that Sutton, this whole peace, love, and sisterhood isn't real. Over at Erika's, she has some famous interior designer come over to help her decorate. I guess he's designed for lots of famous people. And so she's showing him around, and he tells her, you have a lot of beautiful things, but this really isn't Erika Jane. She tells us how he is reminding her how shitty her life was, which, I mean, I understand that she doesn't have what she used to have, but she has a nice place to live, and she has a job that pays, and she also has her little singing career, so her life isn't so bad as far as I'm concerned. She tells him that the house that she came from was beautiful and everything was perfect, but I'm going to be honest, I like her little smaller place better than that big mansion that she had, which looked very outdated compared to even just how she has her house decorated now. I feel like that's even a little bit more modern than her monstrosity house that she had. So it'll be interesting to see what this guy does. What I find interesting too is that this is a rental. She doesn't own this. I'm assuming that this guy is going to do it for free just to kind of have the advertising of being on the Beverly Hills Housewives. I can't imagine that she's sinking money into a rental, because that isn't the smartest thing to do, unless she's just buying furniture. But it sounds like they're going to be like painting and doing all kinds of stuff, especially to that exterior area by the pool. He wants to paint it turquoise and redo it. I don't know. Unless she knows she's going to be there long term, I'm kind of surprised that she would spend money on a place that's not hers, that she doesn't own, which leads me to believe that he's going to do it for free, or somebody else is paying for it. Maybe a sugar daddy or something like that. I don't know. He tells her that the house is going to be amazing next time he comes over. So I am very curious to see what he comes up with. The women are all now getting ready to go to the Viper room. I guess Erika's going to perform a single that she has released. We see Dorit call Erika while they're getting ready, and Dorit asks her if she knows anything about Kyle and PK still talking. She thinks that PK is the type of person who wants to know everything about what Dorit is doing while she knows nothing. I guess she thinks that maybe PK is getting getting information from Kyle. In the after show, she did say that when Kyle would be over and PK was on the phone with Mo, Kyle was trying to like kind of gather information from PK about what Mo was doing. So maybe she still talks to PK because PK and Mo are friends, and so she kind of gets an idea of what Mo is up to. I don't know. Anyway, Erika tells Dorit that she should talk to Kyle that night since Kyle's going to be there. We see them all start arriving to the Viper room, and Kyle arrives with Kesha, the singer. Apparently, her and Kesha have become friends over Instagram or became friends over Instagram, and then they just started hanging out. In the car, Sutton is telling Jennifer that she's nervous because of how Boze said that she was weaponizing Dorit's situation, and now she thinks that Dorit is saying stuff to Boze to make Boze not like her. And I'm like, Sutton, Boze is a very smart lady. She doesn't need Dorit to say anything about you because she has you figured out. We see Boze arrive, and she has on this like crazy bracelet that Kyle's finger gets stuck in when she gives her a hug. And somebody asks her if it's a weapon or a bracelet, and she laughs. And then, of course, Sutton has to get her 2 cents in and says, "Don't weaponize it against me." And I'm like, wow, you really just couldn't let it go, did you? You had to say that. I was like, Sutton, you're driving me nuts. Boze tells us in her talking head that it's a bad idea for Sutton to strike first. I don't know what Sutton is thinking because I feel like Boze is gonna be able to like verbally eviscerate her and call her out for all the shit that she does. Sutton's not gonna know what to say. Sutton tells Boze that she didn't like it when Boze said that she was weaponizing Dorit's situation. And Boze is like, yeah, I said that word because you had taken something about someone's situation and used it to hurt them. Sutton's like, I didn't do that to hurt Dorit. And Boze tells her, yeah, but it did hurt Dorit. I'm with Boze here. You can't say to somebody, you're just angry because you're not happy with the way your life is right now. Not to mention the tone that she said it to Dorit. Sutton tells us that if Boze took the time to get to know her, that she would see her side and not use the word weaponize to insult her. I find it so funny that she feels like the word weaponize was insulting to her when she screamed at Dorit, "You're not mad at me, you're just mad at your situation and the way your life is going." That's insulting. Using the word weaponize is not an insult. I think Sutton is more upset of the fact that Boze has her number and she kind of pointed it out in front of the group and everybody kind of agreed with her more than the fact that she used the word weaponize. Boze tells us in her talking head that it appears that Sutton wants everybody to get along and be kumbaya, but there is another side of Sutton where she gets very mean. I agree. I think Sutton sometimes can be super sweet, and then other times she just totally flies off the handle. And I have a feeling that her mean side coincides with the drinky. We see Kyle introducing Kesha to everybody because she wants everybody to know that, you know, she's with Kesha. And when she introduces Kesha to Dorit, she compliments Dorit's dress, and I forgot who she said it was by, but she was like, "Oh, thank you, it's a blah, blah, blah." And she tells Dorit, "Oh, you're such a fashion girly." And Kyle's face was so funny. She was so irritated that Kesha had said that to Dorit. It's no big secret that Kyle is not a good dresser, and over however many seasons there are, 14 seasons, people have always made fun of the way she dresses. So the fact that Kesha said to Dorit, "Oh my gosh, you're such a fashion girly," while everybody on social media makes fun of the way Kyle dresses, I could see why Kyle made that face. It was just funny. Erika finally arrives. I thought her outfit was really cool. So she gets up and she performs her new single. Can't say it was her best song that she's done, but it was a song. And I didn't feel like she really gave a whole lot in her performance. Usually she's like up there patting the puss and stuff like that. In this performance, she was just kind of walking up and down the stage. She wasn't super into it. So they all go sit down, and Dorit takes this opportunity to tell Kyle that PK has her on high alert and asks Kyle if she's been speaking with him. And Kyle's like, yeah, we do send each other memes and jokes, but we don't talk about what's going on with you guys. Dorit tells us in her talking head that it's not so much that Kyle is talking to PK, but it's more upsetting that Kyle is texting PK when she and Kyle aren't talking, which I understand. Kyle tells Dorit that she's a girly girl, and if it ever got to the point that she and PK weren't getting along, that she would always side with Dorit. And Dorit tells her, well, we aren't getting along. And Kyle's like, oh, okay, well, PK hasn't told me that. But it kind of goes beyond that. They're separated. It's not even that they're getting along or not getting along. They're separated and you're texting him, but not talking to her. So I understand where Dorit is kind of like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? You're talking to him and you're not talking to me. Realistically, if she's not going to talk to Dorit, she really shouldn't be talking to PK. And girl code, she really shouldn't be talking to PK anyway, even if her and Dorit were getting along. Dorit tells us in her talking head what all of us have been saying, that if the tables were turned and Dorit was talking to Mo, Kyle would not be okay with that. And Kyle would not let her get away with pretending that she didn't know that they were not getting along, which I agree. I also think that Kyle probably knows they're not getting along. I am sure PK probably said something like, oh, it's not going well, or something like that. Especially if they're friends and they're in that jokey place, I could totally see him telling her, or if she asked, hey, how's it going? I'm sure she knew about them not doing very well. Dorit tells the table that she and PK are not good and that he has cut off all communication, which makes it hard to shield the kids from what's going on. And Sutton, for whatever reason, says, well, you can't shield the kids forever. I don't understand why Sutton constantly feels the need to interject her opinion, especially when it comes to Dorit's children. I'm with Garcelle. Whether or not what Dorit is doing is correct, I mean, it's a personal preference how you raise your kids, right? But you don't tell somebody that what they're doing is wrong when it comes to their kids. Kids are off the table and everybody's parenting styles are different. Dorit tells her, I'm not planning on shielding my kids forever, which no duh. I mean, she can't shield them forever, and she knows that. She's probably just trying to shield them until they know exactly what's going to happen, which is clearly going to be a divorce at this point. Sutton's like, don't you get mad at me. I meant what I said when I said I would be there for you when we were on the boat. And Dorit's just like, yeah, okay. Sutton's like, what did I ever do to you? Erika chimes in and tells her that she insulted Dorit at Kyle's party when she said that Dorit is angry about her life. Sutton's like, I was actually defending Dorit.
Her life is bad and she's angry. I have been there. And I was defending you. How am I supposed to believe that? It doesn't matter, Dorit. I didn't say I want to be the first person that you call. Okay? If you want me to ever consider you someone, I will be there for you. That's what I said. Got it. My point is, why would you think of calling the person that actually is kicking you while you're down? Then forget it.
I told you, the sisterhood, the openness, the honesty, it's all bullshit right here in front of you. Told you.
We aren't friends, and forget it. There you go. I will be cordial with you at a table. We aren't friends.
I love how Erika calls it out that this whole sisterhood is BS. And she also said it last night on Watch What Happens Live when she was on there. I think Erika is obviously still salty at Sutton for Sutton saying that she didn't want to be around Erika during the Tom Girardi stuff. I think on the surface, she shows and says that she's okay with Sutton, but I think deep down, she does not like her for how she treated her in season 11 when all the stuff about Tom was coming out and everybody was kind of questioning whether Erika was involved or not. Yeah, so I think deep down, Erika doesn't like Sutton. Kyle directs the conversation back to her and Dorit and tells her that if it bothered Dorit that she was sending memes to PK, that she never would have done that. And Boze is like, when I heard about it, I automatically thought that you were breaking girl code. And Garcelle goes around the table and asks each one of them how they would feel. And pretty much all of them say they would have a problem with it. I thought it was pretty funny how all of them each said they would either have a problem with it or they would never do that. except for Kyle. I'm sure Kyle was sitting there like, oh shit. Kyle tells Dorit, if it bothers you, I won't do it anymore. Kyle tells us in her talking head that Dorit dug this up so she has something to be mad about. Which, really, Kyle, if you guys have made progress, like you said, is she not supposed to tell you going forward that you texting with PK hurts her feelings? You're just pissed because everybody at the table said it was wrong, and clearly you were in the wrong. And you didn't like that. She then says that PK has been a better friend to her than Dorit has, which is interesting. Claiming that PK has been a better friend to her than Dorit clearly indicates that their friendship and texting goes beyond them just texting memes and jokes to each other. So she kind of, to me at least, I feel like she kind of just busted herself or outed herself that her and PK have been talking because he's been a better friend to her than Dorit has. So it makes me believe that she was fully aware that Dorit and PK were not in a good place, or at least PK was not in a good place with Dorit, because Dorit really didn't find out about it until their 4-hour session in therapy when he screamed he wants a divorce or whatever. Just my opinion. Dorit tells Kyle, you know, it really hurt my feelings that you didn't tell me that you were texting with PK. Then tells Kyle, I wouldn't feel comfortable sending Mo a text, even if you said that you didn't care, which is kind of what Kyle tries to play off. Like, I wouldn't care if you sent Mo a text. Yeah, right, Kyle. Sure. I don't believe that for a hot minute. At this point, I think Kyle's feeling a little bit defeated, and she's just like, I'm done. And Dorit asks her, what do you mean you're done?
You need to be very clear. I need clarity. Okay. What does that mean I'm done?
I am done doing this with you. I've tried to fix you. I've tried to fix it with you.
As am I.
Okay, but you're so bitter.
Bitter. I'm asking you to not speak where your veins are popping out of your forehead. Please.
I apologize, and I said to you, I will not talk to him again. What more do you want from me?
I want you to stop raising your voice at me.
No, you see everybody.
You don't get to speak to me that way. Do you understand, Kyle? The rules are different. You don't get to scream. You. Listen. You.
When Dorit said, you don't get to scream at me to the point where your veins are popping out of your head, I went back and rewatched it, and she was not kidding. Kyle's veins were popping out of her forehead. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. But it was true. Her veins were very much popping out of her forehead. So the girls on the after show did say that it started getting physical between Kyle and Dorit, and that Dorit had lunged at Kyle. And on Watch What Happens Live last night, Erika said that that was probably the most physical I've ever seen on all my seasons on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You know, they were lunging at each other. I don't think they were like grabbing at each other or throwing things like we see on Salt Lake City or kicking chairs or anything like that. But I guess they were lunging towards each other. That's going to be continued next week. We'll see the aftermath of that. And I can't wait. So that is all I have for you guys today for The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I will be back on probably Friday with my Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap. Until then, have a good day, everybody. Bye.